final thing relating to security is something that a few customers have asked us for, and that's the row-level security. Now, the typical scenario here would be that you've got chemists that are assigned to particular projects. Each project might be working for a different customer, and you need to provide some sort of restriction of access so that a chemist who's working for one customer can't see the compounds that are assigned to the project for another customer. And this is really a very sort of open-ended security requirement. There's no way how we can just provide a sort of single check button that does this. So instead, what we've done is we've provided a feature which we call a SQL row-level SQL filter, and we do this by using this extra attributes tab. And you can add, this is a generic mechanism we have for adding new properties to tables and fields and things like that. For a normal entity or table, there's only one that you can provide, you can define, and that's this SQL filter. And what this is a piece of SQL that is basically appended to all of the select statements and can be used to restrict the rows that will be selected. So in a very simple case, you might put in a SQL filter like mol weight, CD mol weight is less than 500. You should look at the examples that are in the documentation here to make sure you start with something sensible here. But a filter like this, it would be nonsense to actually use, but what this one would do would be to append that as an additional where clause to all select statements in the that are hitting this table. And as a result, you'd only see compounds that have a molecular weight of less than 500. Now, of course, that's a pretty daft example. In reality, what you would have to work out what the custom SQL you need is to restrict access to your particular users according to the particular project that they are associated with. And if we go to the documentation, for instance, JChem, and look at the section on row-level security, there are some examples of how you would do this. And the one thing you might actually be wondering is how do you actually specify the username so that you can restrict access according to the particular user. And here's an example here where you're specifying some SQL here, and part of that SQL is where the project, user project, that could be a table where the association of a user to a project is, and the username in the column in that table must equal this, or token underscore underscore IJC underscore username underscore underscore. Now at runtime, that token will be substituted for the actual username. And so what will happen here is that the rows will be restricted according to the projects that the user is associated with. Now, really to understand this fully, I certainly recommend you read this page in the user docs, because it should be a lot clearer there. But basically, what's going on here is that you would have a select statement that would normally retrieve whatever rows you wanted. This is where you've got a query based on the formula. After you've applied the row filter, as sort of indicated by this token here, is appended also to the where clause. In this case, this is our filter, and you end up with a restriction of the rows that the user can see. As I said, to understand this in more detail, please read this web page. It's a pretty advanced topic, and it certainly you would need to test and validate your SQL pretty carefully before you actually implemented it and set it live. But it does provide quite a useful feature here.